Hi everyone, my name is Tracy Nugent and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to the video. I hope you enjoy it. So if you've been keeping up with my channel for a while now, you would know that this is another one of those videos in my monthly series that I've been uploading on my channel where I read from this book as well as this book. I'm a little awkward with filming right now because I feel like I never film anymore, and I'm trying to keep my voice quiet because I think there's people around outside, and my apartment has very paper thin walls, so you can really hear exactly what's going on in here, and you can also hear what's going on outside. So I'm trying to not speak too loudly right now. Hopefully that's okay and you can still hear me clearly. But yeah, for those of you who are new and just joining for the first time, this is a monthly series that I do on my channel where I usually read each month's chapter from this book right here. And this book is called The Leaping Hare, Nature Almanac, your year-long mindful guide to reconnecting with nature. So every month, this book is sort of divided in month by month. And so each of the 12 months has its own section in this book, its own chapter. So I usually, just for fun, I read each of the month that we're in, that specific section or chapter of the book that belongs to the current month that we're in. And obviously this month we're in February, which is crazy. I feel like the holidays didn't seem that long ago, and now we're already well into February, and tomorrow is actually Valentine's Day. I'm filming this on February 13th, so hopefully, if fingers crossed everything goes well, then I'll have this video up for Valentine's Day tomorrow. And that's actually kind of the reason why I wore this pink themed zip up, like this like really fuzzy hoodie, because it's still very much in the thick of winter, so it's very warm, but it's like this really cute like pink color. And I don't know if you can see, but there's, let me stand up, there's little like hearts sort of embroidered into the fuzzy material. I don't know if it shows up well on camera, but as you can kind of see, there's like little heart outlines, like heart indents in the fabric, the fuzzy material. I mean, you can kind of see it. There's like little hearts everywhere. So I felt like this little sweatshirt was just so fitting for this month of February, for Valentine's Day coming up tomorrow. Hopefully I can have this video up for Valentine's Day in time. Sadly, I am not doing anything for Valentine's Day because my partner will be working. He works weekends, like every other weekend, and this year Valentine's Day falls on a Saturday that he actually works. So we already had our pre-Valentine's Day yesterday, where we spent the whole day together doing fun things, doing whatever I wanted, but also like he kind of planned the itinerary for the day, and he knows that I love going out, I love going to museums, and I love going out to dinner at a restaurant, and I love going to the movie theater. So that's what we basically did yesterday. Was he took me to a nearby-ish local museum. It wasn't in my hometown, it was kind of further out west of Massachusetts. I live in Massachusetts, so it's sort of in the western Massachusetts part. I live in like the central Massachusetts part, but I call it local because it was only like 20-30 minutes away from where I live, so it wasn't really that far at all. But it's like this really cool museum. It's called the Harvard Fisher Museum, and it's about like nature conservation and ecology, and he knows that I love just exploring museums, all different kinds of museums. I love art museums mostly, but I also love science museums and just, you know, wildlife, nature museums, or like history museums. I love history museums, or like natural history and stuff like that. So this was a very small, little, quaint, cozy museum. It was only like one room, but you can kind of like go further into the building and explore a little bit. But it was mostly a lot of like office rooms and stuff. So it was kind of like this small, like very cozy, quaint museum. And it had like a lot of dioramas and stuff like that, full of like the landscape, nature scenery around, because I think the forest that the museum sits in is actually like a research forest for like ecology and like land transformation, like how they study the transformations of nature over time, for that particular, like for New England and stuff like that. So that was really fun. That museum was really cool. I took a few pictures here and there, and we had a lot of time, so I was able to read all of the plaques and look at all the really cool dioramas and stuff. So that was really fun. And then right after that, we went to go see sort of a Valentine's Day themed like rom-com movie at a nearby movie theater. We went to see this movie called Solo Mio, and it was really good. I love that movie so much. It was really good. I feel like, my gripes with rom-coms is that it always centers around the female perspective. And I feel like there's not enough rom-coms out there that really centers around the male perspective. And I feel like this movie really flips that trope on its head. And instead of like the stereotypical, like, oh, heartbroken women find themselves in Europe and then fall in love with a European dude or something along the way, it takes that trope and it's filmed from the perspective of a man. So a man gets heartbroken when he's left at the altar by his fiance, and he ends up going on this prepaid honeymoon package around Italy on his own, and he's heartbroken, he's hurting, but then he finds love, and like he makes new friends, and it's really cute. It's such a wholesome movie, and there weren't any like explicit scenes or anything. It was just such a wholesome movie. So I would recommend that for all ages. It's not explicit adult or anything at all. And I feel like for some reason, the female version of rom-coms, which is like 99% of them, always have to have like explicit scenes, like adult content. And I just feel like I don't really enjoy that as someone who just doesn't like that stuff. So I am a sucker for wholesome, cozy movies that don't have explicit scenes. I know I say that and then I completely obsess over Bridgerton, which is like extremely explicit. Speaking of that, sorry, I'm going on like so many different tangents right now, but I've been super obsessed with the newest season of Bridgerton. It came out a few weeks ago, like at the end of January, and I'm sort of just counting down the days for Netflix to release the other half of the season because only the first half came out, sadly. And I binged the whole first half of the season in one night because it was so freaking good. And I'm excited for the second half to be released at the end of this month. So that's something that I'll be looking forward to after Valentine's Day, is having a little Bridgerton solo date night where I can just relax on my couch and immerse myself and binge watch the second half of the season, like just alone and enjoy it, because my partner doesn't watch it or anything, which is fine. But yeah, so I love Bridgerton. So it's not that I'm completely against, like explicit adult scenes or anything. Like I feel like if it works, then it works. But for the most part, I feel like with rom-coms, it just doesn't work. For some reason, I just think that genre is so, it's so cheesy that I feel like the explicit content just doesn't need to be done. Like, I feel like it's already cheesy enough, you know what I mean? Where I feel like Bridgerton, it just works. Like, it really does sort of continue and push the story along, and it just really does work, where I feel like these types of modern rom-coms don't need those types of explicit scenes. Anyways, that was just a little rant, but yeah, Solo Mio was a really, really great movie. If you're looking for a Valentine's Day themed movie that doesn't have adult content, that is very wholesome and sweet and has a very lovable main character and lovable side characters and lovable female lead, well, technically it was a male lead because it was filmed from the Kevin James, he plays the main character. It was filmed from his perspective, but the female lead, as in like his love interest, was really great. So I loved it. I love that movie. I could sing praise to it all day long. And it kind of captured romance for like, you know, older couples, and it kind of tackled like, you know, this idea of getting your heart broken in your older years, like in your 40s and 50s and 60s, and, you know, what it means to start all over again and start dating again, and feeling like you're so lost because you invested so much time and energy into the wrong person, and having it blow up in your face, and you're just like regretting every decision you've ever made, and you're feeling like, oh, you lost a huge chunk of time in your life. And yeah, I feel like this movie really tackled all of those really raw human emotions about aging and finding love again and starting over again later on in life. And I love that movie. So highly recommend this Valentine's Day, or just in general, if you're looking for a feel-good movie, a feel-good rom-com, definitely check out Solo Mio. It's really great. This video is not sponsored by it, by the way, because I don't have that many subscribers or viewers, so it's not sponsored. I just genuinely really liked that movie. I enjoyed it. So we went to go see that, and then we sort of browsed around the plaza that the movie theater was in, and we went like window shopping, and then we ate dinner at 110 Grill, which is honestly one of my favorite restaurants because it's got like decently priced food, like affordable food for like a fancier restaurant atmosphere. So I think it's kind of like the best of both worlds. So I love 110 Grill. So we went to eat dinner there, like a pre-Valentine's Day date night dinner, and then we just took the long drive back roads way home, and we hung out that night, and we went to bed, you know, early, and well, we got ready for bed early. He made me some coffee for the next day. So we had a nice Valentine's Day, like a pre-Valentine's Day date night / day yesterday, because he's working on the actual Valentine's Day tomorrow. But yeah, that was sort of my recap of what has been happening, especially for this month. And I wanted to wear something festive for Valentine's Day, for the month of love. But yeah, so obviously if you're new here, or if you're not new here and you know, I usually read from this book, but I also read a little snippet from this book as well. And this book is called Complete Healing and Natural Remedies, a holistic approach to mental health and healing, natural remedies, foods, lifestyles, strategies, and therapies. This is kind of just like a supplemental book that I read from to sort of end the video after reading from this book. But since I've been rambling for like 10 or 12 minutes now, I'm just gonna jump right into reading from this book for the month of February. I feel like I need to film more YouTube videos because I always procrastinate, and I feel like I always have so much to update you guys on, and I know that not that many people watch my YouTube channel, but I feel like this is just like a nice therapeutic outlet for me to just film myself talking to myself, or like talking to the camera and just like ranting about random things. And like, I don't know, I just feel like it is quite therapeutic in a way. So okay, so we're in February now, obviously. February. Time to be present. Seek out early morning naturescapes. That's such a weird word. Seek out early morning naturescapes and reconnect to the wild beauty that exists. I don't know why I couldn't pronounce that word. But this is what the February section looks like. It's very pretty, even though it's winter, this is very like summery, very beachy vibes, like tropical vibes. So that was an interesting choice that they made for the illustration. Okay. So this next part is called Eco Reflection, Truly in Nature. The bike connects us to the natural world almost as intimately as walking, with the added bonus that it enables us to see more of it in a given time. On the bike, we're part of the landscape, not merely passing through it. We have full use of senses we've deprived of in the car. We are truly in nature, not insulated from it. It's almost as though animals and birds understand that we pose no threat to them and therefore accept us into their world. And since our approach is silent, we can get much closer to them before they realize we're there. Nature's rewards. For the mindful cyclist, being aware of wildlife is part of creating and maintaining a connection with the world and the seasons. Migrant birds tell me more surely than any calendar that the seasons are shifting. Migrant birds tell me more surely than any calendar that the seasons are shifting. Some arrive as harbingers of winter, whilst others bring summer with them from distant lands and take it away again when they depart. We are privileged to share their space and freedom, breathe their air, feel their sun and rain, and savor stolen glimpses of their hidden lives. They remind us that we are all part of the same living world and finding our own way through it. I hope you understand by now that I am a terrible reader out loud. Like, I feel like I always mess up and like trip over my words and stutter a lot. So I'm sorry if you find that annoying, but I'm just really bad at reading like out loud. Like I prefer reading silently in my mind, but it is what it is. I'm also enjoying some coffee right now. My throat gets like kind of raspy and tired when I'm like reading for so long out loud. But yeah, that was the first part. This is more fitting for the month of February, this winter landscape with like the bare trees. She's dressed up in her winter gear. So that's definitely a more suiting illustration for the month. But yeah, I really do like this eco-reflection part. I feel like, you know, we tend to deprive our senses being in cars for so long, and we don't take enough walks or cycle, use a bicycle or a scooter to go through like nature and really feel nature all around us. And I feel like a car just insulates us from nature so much. And I understand, like, if you live in America like I do, we have to get places using a car because most places are too far to walk, or it's not safe to use a bicycle because there's no like bicycle lane and stuff like that. Like, it's mostly like highways in America that we have to drive in. And I think that's why Europe is a lot more superior when it comes to like having more easier access to walking and bicycling and public transportation and stuff like that. I feel like America is very lacking in all of that stuff. So we usually have to just take cars everywhere, like drive cars around. And I think that is such a sad way to move around because we're being very sedentary with our bodies, and we're not even like paying attention to anything around us besides like the road ahead and like trying not to get into a car crash. Like, that's basically like the downsides of using a car. But I feel like the plus of using a car is the fact that we don't use horses anymore. And like, I feel really bad for like using like horse-drawn carriages and stuff because I'm such an animal lover. Like, I'm an animal person and I care a lot about animal welfare. And I do appreciate that cars have shifted us away from using horses as transportation. But I do think that we should, you know, look into other modes of transportation like public transit, or, you know, being able to use the bicycle, you know. And I also like that this book reminds us that we don't own Earth, we don't own Mother Nature, we are part of it, just like any other creature that shares this Earth with us, that shares the planet with us. And it is a privilege, not a right, for us to coexist with these other beings. It is a privilege to see the sun and feel the sun's warmth. It is a privilege to breathe in the air that the trees give us. It is a privilege to catch glimpses of wildlife in their natural habitats doing their thing. It is such a privilege to share this earth, this world, this planet with so many other beings. And I think as humans, we really forget about that. We think it is our right. It is not our right. It is our privilege. It is a privilege. And I feel like the sooner we realize that, the better. And hopefully, you know, we can stop exploiting Earth's resources so much for capitalist profit reasons. But I love that this book really reminds us to be grounded in the fact that humans are not superior to Mother Nature. Mother Nature will always reign superior, and we are merely her peasants. We are merely just coexisting here with other beings, and that is a privilege, not a right. So, yeah, that was the first part. Let's see. Okay, the next part is called Well-Being Small Gardens. Sometimes we have to accept that we don't have the time or the space for a large garden. Rather than regard this as a failure or a deficiency, we can approach it as an opportunity to get creative. Gardens are about relationships with plants, the earth, our communities, and ourselves. Any garden is a gift and a journey, even if it is one little pot of marigolds. The garden is what we make of it. The popularity of fairy gardens illustrates how a small garden can be just as rewarding and fun as a big plot of land. Living in a small space doesn't just limit you to pots and hanging gardens, however. Consider other possibilities for spending time in the garden, such as community gardens, nearby gardens, and school gardens, volunteering at a local school garden, or tending an elderly neighbor's garden. Is an opportunity for service and fitting in time with those good soil microbes and green brothers and sisters. Every plant, every plot of tended soil makes the world a greener, fresher, and more caring place. Every moment spent in a garden fills your heart with the compassion of green and growing things. I am really loving February's chapters so far. I feel like a lot of it really is a reminder to, be grounded in the earth, in Mother Nature, and, just, I feel like be in servitude and help each other, help others, volunteer more. Like I mentioned in my previous video, the January video, that I was taking on some volunteering work. And in this case, like if you're more of a nature person, there are volunteer work available for like nature loving people. Like you can volunteer at a local community garden or help out like your elderly neighbors with their garden. I feel like the older people get, the more they tend to neglect their gardens because they just don't have that physical capability to take care of it as much anymore. And even just helping out the elderly, like your neighbors and stuff that need that help to tend to their gardens, that's still very much in servitude and helping others, but also helping your mental health and helping the planet thrive at the same time. So it goes full circle in being in servitude to others and to the planet, and you will reap the benefits of having better energy, better mental health, feeling good about yourself, but also just expelling good energy out into the world and having it come back to you. And just, you'll still reap benefits from tending to Mother Earth. She always provides, she always gives back. And I think the sooner we realize that, the better. As I mentioned before, I feel like we're so caught up in social media, who's richer, who's better looking, who's this, who's that, who's more successful. Like, what are the celebrities doing? Who are they dating? Or like, we're just so caught up in silly social media trends and like capitalist influences instead of just coming home to ourselves, coming home to our humanity and having compassion for not only other humans, but for other beings that we share the earth with. And that includes plants and vegetation and trees and the lands that we live on. So yeah, that's just another great reminder from this book that I love. So that's the illustration. Okay, and this next part is a meditation called Walking in Wet Weather. Rain, rain, go away, come again another day, chants the gloomy child at the window as the depressingly gray rain trickles down the glass, ruining dreams of football. The family who has planned a picnic looks anxiously up at the clouds. The organizers of an outdoor event check and recheck the weather forecast with fingers crossed. For those of us who live in places where rain is a regular but somewhat unpredictable feature of the climate, it is easy to fall into the habit of thinking of it as an irritation, a spoil sport. It is natural to do so, but the regular walker has a great opportunity to adopt a different attitude. We deepen our feelings for the world when we learn to relish the rain. It is without doubt important to be prepared, dress sensibly, and carry a waterproof when on a long hike. There is no sense in getting soaked to the skin unless a welcome hot shower is immediately available, and mindfulness is difficult to sustain when wet and shivering with cold. The aim of mindfulness is to see more clearly who we are and to understand our circumstances, to live more consciously and to dispel our inherited fog of ignorance. Cultivating a love for the rain gives us the opportunity to enhance our experience of living. I feel like this book is really just cutting the bullcrap and just giving us reminder after reminder to stop being so irrational and ignorant and learning to be more present and mindful and accepting reality for how it is. You know, I grew up being raised as a Buddhist, and I do identify as a Buddhist, even though I feel like I'm not too religious myself, but I resonate a lot with the Buddhist religion because that was sort of how I was raised as a Vietnamese person. Buddhism is very prevalent in our culture. So is Christianity, obviously, too. But I feel like I have an appreciation for all religions. But I think Buddhism has really helped me with my anxiety and sort of just being in tune with the present moment and stop overthinking and stop worrying about so many different things. And I love that this book is a constant reminder of that, to stop overthinking and stop being so chaotic. Like, I think it's a great reminder for us to really accept fate and accept reality. Not fate, I feel like that's the wrong word to use, but accept reality for how and what it is in the present moment. Because if it's raining, there's no use in complaining about it, and there's no use in dreading it or wishing that it would go away. It's just how it is. And the more you accept things for how they are without trying to control or change the situation, the better, because it would significantly improve your happiness, your fulfillment in life. And rain is also a necessity to sustain life on Earth. So, you know, thinking about the benefits of rain and how that is actually helping the vegetation and nature thrive around you, I think that would really help us appreciate rain more. Because I have fallen into this trap too. I've always hated rain. I hated the idea of going out and getting soaked and getting wet. I actually prefer snow over rain. I think snow just is prettier than rain, but I need to constantly remind myself, just like how this book is reminding us, that rain is a necessity to life, and the sooner we start to appreciate it, the happier we'll be. So I think even just taking a walk outside in the rain can be quite thrilling and beneficial to your mental health. Obviously, like, it doesn't have to be a long walk, and definitely dress appropriately so that you're not like soaked and cold and getting sick afterwards. But I think we tend to not appreciate rain as much. So yeah, that was that part. The next part is called Plant Knowledge. What is a leaf? A leaf can be defined as a vegetative outgrowth from the stem of a plant. The leaves of temperate zone broad-leaved trees mostly have a flattened shape and are green in color. However, that broad similarity encompasses a vast evolutionary diversity of form. A leaf typically consists of the blade, or the lamina, and the stalk, or the petiole. In the axil of the leaf, where the leaf joins the stem, there is an axillary bud. Some species also bear structures known as stipules. These are small and often leaf-like and are borne at the base of the leaf stalk. They are often small and inconspicuous, falling early, but sometimes they are large or useful for identification. So that's cool. It's a little leaf fact. But I like that this book is very like educational as well. Like in terms of like botany and biology and stuff like that, and astronomy. There's a lot of like nature-centric knowledge and facts from this book. So this is sort of like a diagram of the leaf. I'm sorry, it's backwards, but this is the stipules. This is the stalk, which is like the stem of the leaf. And then the blade is just like the outer parts of the leaf, the broad parts of the leaf. But yeah, very cool. Okay, this next part is an eco-reflection called Tune into the Forest. One of the great benefits of bird watching is not just the discovery of the birds themselves, but also of the environment around us. We see and experience it with new eyes and an inquiring wonder. When we look for birds in the forest, we are entering a new world, surrounded by some of the oldest living things on Earth. The primeval forests of the world are sadly shrinking through logging and careless agribusiness. Even so, there are still a great many forests, patches of deep woodland or wild scrub scattered around the globe. Forests are essential to the planet's health, breathing oxygen into the atmosphere and holding the soil together in times of flood. Their biodiversity is rich and valuable. So another reminder to tune into the forest, whether that means just taking a walk at a local nearby park, if you live in a city or a condensed suburban area, even if it just is going to like a local park, or if you're lucky enough to have a backyard and like trees in your backyard and like a mini little forest in your backyard, going out and exploring that. But yeah, forests are very essential, obviously, and it's a great thing to appreciate them while they're still around, because I am very concerned with where capitalism is taking us as a species, and just this whole like profits over anything else type of mindset is really ruining the planet for all of us, which is sad. But we should appreciate what we have currently. So the next part is well-being, called Mindful Blooms. Fresh flowers evoke all sorts of emotions and make the house smell wonderful. Which rooms do you want to relax in? Would it be nice to wake up to the scent of flowers by your bedside, or would a few vases dotted around the home work better? The act of choosing the flowers can be a mindful experience. Look at the shapes and textures of the leaves, the relaxing or stimulating colors of the petals, and the scent you might bring home. Perhaps the powerful perfume of a lily or the gentle aroma of a freesia. Fresh flowers are a treat, but you could also have a bunch of dried herbs such as rosemary and thyme on hand to sniff as an everyday pick-me-up. Similarly, flowers are often used in essential oils. Lavender is a popular choice to evoke calm and relaxation, and it is one of the safer oils to use on bare skin. A few drops on your pillow at night or in a bathtub can become a wonderful element in your bedtime routine. I love having flowers in my living room, actually. I'm very grateful for my partner because he usually he buys me flowers once every month or once every 2 months after they wilt, and we usually put them in a vase on my coffee table in the living room area. But I love having fresh flowers in the house. I think it really does liven up the place, and it smells nice, and it's just beautiful to admire. And I do want to start admiring them more. I feel like I usually get so caught up in my everyday routine, and like whenever I'm sitting on the couch watching Netflix, I don't truly appreciate the flowers just being there in front of me on my coffee table enough. And this book really just reminded me that it's good to appreciate every little bits of nature here and there, whatever nature you have in your home or outside of your home, in your community. It's a great thing to appreciate what we have with Mother Earth, Mother Nature. Okay, let's see. So we have quite a few bits of sections left, but this next section is another plant knowledge section called What is a Seed? A seed contains an embryo, unborn plant, which is formed in the ovary of a flower. The embryo is surrounded by the cotyledon, which provides nutrition, and wrapped in the testa, a protective coat, which prevents the seed from drying out and protects it from any mechanical injuries that might occur after dispersal. The sole purpose of a plant is to reproduce. There are male and female reproductive parts of the flower. Most flowers have both, but some flowers are single-sex, such as pumpkin flowers. Some plants can reproduce vegetatively by producing offsets and runners, but in most cases, seed production is the most effective way of ensuring the genetic diversity and long-term success of a species. Seeds are a food source to wildlife and humans, and many of them won't reach germination. So, as an insurance, an individual plant can produce tens, hundreds, and even thousands of seeds. For a flowering plant to produce seeds, it has to work in partnership with nature and adapt in ways that will attract partners such as insects, bees, butterflies, small mammals, and birds. Insects help by transferring pollen from the anther, or the male, to the stigma, the female, thus enabling fertilization so that seeds can form in the ovary. That's very cool. I love seeds. Seeds taste really good, but I also feel bad because we do need more of them to make sure that no specific species of flowers and plants die off so that they can reproduce in abundance. But that is this section, and this is sort of the diagram of the seed. We have the embryo right here, and then the cotyledon, which is like this big broad part of the seed, and then this is called the testa, which is like the outer rim layer of the seed. Ooh, this next part looks cool. This next part is a ritual called seed sowing ritual. Develop a deep well of patience and wisdom with this easy ritual. If you have a garden, find a patch of soil and sit beside it. Alternatively, you can use a plant pot filled with soil. You will also need some seeds of your choice. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Imagine a beam of light traveling down from the sky, hitting the top of your head and surging through you. Picture this light flowing into your hands and along your fingertips, infusing you with creative energy. Open your eyes and dip the fingers of both hands deep into the soil. Sift the earth rhythmically through your fingers as if you're adding air to this earthly mixture. As you do this, repeat the chant, I am one with the universe and part of a much bigger picture. Sow the seeds, then cover lightly with the soil. To finish, water them, and as you do this, say, my patience grows like the seeds I sow. The physical activity of sowing and then nurturing the seeds also nurtures qualities within yourself, like patience and understanding. This, combined with a powerful affirmation that is repeated when the seeds are watered, helps to reprogram the way you think and feel. That's really cool. I feel like gardeners must have like such big, large amounts of patience, because it is, a lot of effort and work to really take care of a garden and nurture it and see the fruits of your labor pay off. It takes a really long time. Like, there's not really that instant gratification as you would get from watching a show or a movie that you enjoy or scrolling social media. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like being a gardener takes a lot more effort because you're trying to reprogram your brain to appreciate like a slower pace of gratification rather than like an instant gratification every time you like scroll through like social media, like Instagram or TikTok or something like that, So I feel like becoming a gardener, which would really help your patience and your empathy towards like nurturing these plants and these beings that just aren't you and aren't other humans, Okay, so that is the illustration for that part I just read. This next part. Okay, so we're almost done. There's only two sections left for this February chapter. but this next section is a meditation called Observe and Let It Flow. If your mind is a deep ocean, your thoughts are like fish and you are a deep sea diver. Rather than noticing a fish and following it, try sitting cross-legged on the floor of the ocean and simply observe the fish as they swim by. In mindfulness, rather than trying to control a thought or following a thought and engaging with it, we just need to passively allow it to appear and move along. You can be certain that another thought will pop up just as quickly as the last one passed, but with practice, they will not be as intense or engaging. So that's the illustration. That's really cool. I love like little like meditations and affirmations that this book gives. It's very, very sweet, very wholesome. And I think, you know, we would all benefit from practicing mindfulness because I feel like social media and streaming services have really ruined our patience and our ability to stay grounded in the present moment because of all that instant gratification that we receive from all these like technological advancements and stuff. Okay, so last but not least, this is the final section of the February chapter of this book. This is called Growing the Elements. The earth, air, sun, and water all have individual roles to play that help support, feed, hydrate, repopulate, and produce food for a plant. Earth supports plants by allowing them to anchor their roots and communicate with one another. It also holds onto water and nutrients for plants to access when they need to. Air, plants capture and absorb nutrients from the air, which are then transformed into food such as atmospheric water, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen. The movement of air plays an important role in pollen and seed dispersal for some plants, but can also cause damage and windburn. Sun. Plants have evolved throughout the world and adapted to different types of light. It is important to bear in mind a plant's origins so you can ensure you're providing it with the right light and temperature levels. Light varies in strength throughout the seasons, which tells plants when to start growing, fruiting, and flowering, and when to hibernate. Sun also controls temperature, which affects all of the processes in a plant, such as photosynthesis, germination, and growth. And then water. Plants are made up of 90% water, and without it, they become stressed and even die. Water hydrates plants and is used to dissolve soil minerals and deliver them to the plant. Plant cells fill with water, which is what keeps the stems strong and rigid. If the cells lose water, the plant will wilt, but can sometimes be resurrected by being watered again. But in extreme drought, a plant will perish. Too much water can also kill plants by depriving them of oxygen from waterlogged soil. So that was the final part of this February chapter or section of this book. That's the illustration. It has all of the 4 elements. I'm excited to be reading the next couple months. The next 2 months I'll be reading from this book are March and April. This is the spring section, but February is the last full month of winter, thank God. I love winter. I love how cozy it is, but I think I'm kind of at a point where we've had so many snowstorms throughout the last few months that I honestly am at a point where like I'm excited for spring. I feel like that's very common because winter is very extreme. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see budding flowers and see greenery around again and just nature coming alive and the snow and ice sort of melting away. I live in New England in Massachusetts, as you already know, and we have experienced so many snowstorms, and it's been a lot. I love snow, don't get me wrong. I love snow. I've always preferred snow over rain, but it's gotten to a point where we've had so much snow the past, 2.5 months that it's been a lot. So, but yeah, that was the February chapter of this book. I'm excited to read March and April because I actually started this series with May. So after April's video, this series will be done and I will move on to filming other videos for you guys. Mostly other talking, vlogging type of videos, like me talking to the camera. But the next 2 months will be the last 2 videos for this monthly series, which is bittersweet, but I'm also just kind of excited for it to end so that I can move on to film other types of videos for you guys. I've been kind of just like pushing through to finalize and finish this series because I am a completionist and I feel like I just can't give up on anything. I need to see it through. So I'm excited to read March and April's chapters from this book, and that'll be the end of it. But before I end this video, because I rambled a lot in the beginning, I just wanted to read another little snippet chapter from, or section from this book real quick, which I always do to end this video on, and these videos on. But this is a holistic healing type of book, so it has a lot of like elements that really tie in with the other book, which is why I wanted to read both of these books together as part of the same series. But for this month's section of this holistic healing book, I wanted to read this section called Our Response to Stress. Though most of us are unaware of it, our bodies actually have 2 brains. The brain in our head is connected to our central nervous system. We also have a second brain in our gut, known as the enteric nervous system, which controls digestion and local circulation. These 2 brains are in constant communication with each other, and how our bodies deal with stress affects both systems. That's really cool. The gut-brain axis. Our 2 nervous systems in the brain and the gut are linked by the vagus nerve, the longest of all the cranial nerves. The vagus nerve stretches from the brainstem through the neck and ends in the abdomen, providing a continuous 2-way line of communication between the gut and the brain. Within the system, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or the HPA axis, also aids communication between the gut and the brain. This system of connections and communication between the gastrointestinal tract and the brain is referred to as the gut-brain axis. There is ample evidence that these systems mirror each other. I need another sip from my coffee because I've been reading too much. My throat is dry. During sleep, the head's brain produces 90-minute cycles of slow wave sleep, punctuated by periods of rapid eye movement, or REM sleep, in which dreams occur. During the night, the gut's brain produces 90-minute cycles of slow wave muscle contractions, punctuated by short bursts of rapid muscle movements. In addition, what affects one system can affect the other. For example, those with bowel problems have also been shown to have abnormal REM sleep, a finding that helps explain the observed link between indigestion and nightmares. And those suffering from Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases often suffer from constipation. Drugs designed to work on the brain are likely to have an effect on the gut. For instance, antidepressants that alter serotonin levels can also cause gastrointestinal problems such as nausea, diarrhea, and constipation. An insight into mental health. This direct link between our brains and our digestive tracts has changed our thinking about mental wellness. Doctors and scientists who have studied the gut-brain axis now suspect that it has a role to play in bipolar disorders, schizophrenia, and other psychological or neurological problems. Specifically, it is thought that disruptions or imbalances in the microbiome, the diverse population of microbes or bacteria that live in our gastrointestinal GI tracts, may be influential. Recent studies suggest that a healthy gut in infancy can, in addition to helping maintain immunity, have a profound effect on our minds and emotional health during our adult lives. Other data suggests the communication between bacteria in our guts and our brains plays an important role in the development not just of psychiatric illnesses, but also of intestinal diseases and probably other health problems, including obesity. The effect of stress hormones. The response of the gut-brain axis to stress is also thought to have a profound effect on our moods. The organs in the HPA axis, particularly the adrenal glands, release a cascade of stress hormones, including cortisol, epinephrine or adrenaline, and norepinephrine, noradrenaline, into our bodies to help us cope in times of stress. These hormones have a stimulant effect, and their release is an ancient physiological reaction in the human body that gives us the strength to fight or take flight in times of danger or attack. However, a continued release of these hormones can have a rebound effect, adrenal fatigue, and a drop in adrenal efficiency, which can lead to profound exhaustion with accompanying mood swings and sleep disruption. Taking care of our two brains requires a range of measures. Eating healthy whole foods is key, including prebiotics to feed good gut bacteria, found in foods such as onions and other plant foods, and probiotics that provide healthy bacteria found in live yogurt and fermented foods. Lifestyle actions such as reducing stress and improving sleep quality are also key. Taking these steps encourages the growth and survival of our microbiomes and reduces levels of stress hormones in the body, in turn improving overall mental and emotional well-being. So that's really cool. I watched a Netflix documentary last year about the microbiomes in our gut health and how that actually does play a huge role with like our mental health and everything, and like our skin health, and it was really interesting. So I love reading about like all these like biology, physiological phenomenon that occur in our bodies, because I think our bodies are just so like fascinating to learn about, and that's why I have such an appreciation for my body, because it works so hard to keep me alive and happy and healthy. So yeah, so I guess the takeaway for this little section of this book is to try and reduce stress as much as possible, and to eat healthy and move your body and have good sleep hygiene, to live the most fulfilling life, the most healthy life. I know that it's hard, it's easier said than done, because a lot of us live very stressful, very busy lives, especially in like this modern age. And a lot of us are constantly comparing ourselves to one another because of social media, and like comparing our successes to one another. And, you know, in addition to like having kids and taking care of the kids and the house and stuff like that, especially as a woman, it can be really draining. So just please remember to take care of yourself as much as possible, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And I have realized that in my life, and I've been proactively trying to take care of myself a lot better so that I can take care of other people around me and not feel drained or not hold resentment for anyone. So yeah, that was the takeaway. Some other little captions are: prebiotic foods such as onions feed the healthy bacteria already in our guts. The gut-brain axis, the direct link between our brains and digestive tracts, plays a key role in mental well-being. So that was this section of this book. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed February's video where I read from these two books as part of the monthly series. I feel like I have been in a much better mindset lately, so I keep putting off filming these videos, but I am, it's because I'm also just really busy with other stuff. Like I'm trying to like start my own business with like pet sitting, and I've been having like a lot of clients and stuff for that, and also on the flip side of trying to film videos for this YouTube channel has sort of added to my to-do list. I'm also like a full-time caretaker for my family, and I'm also doing volunteer work. So it's been a lot going on, but I'm definitely at a happier point in my life than I was last year. I think I was just so miserable last year with my corporate job that there's not a day that goes by that I regret quitting that job. I definitely needed to quit for my mental health and for my physical health, and also for the health of my family and for those around me that I take care of. I am more present with like the people in my life now. So, and I get to do what I enjoy, which is working with animals and caretaking for both people and animals, and also getting creative with, you know, my YouTube channel and filming videos that I want to film, and social media posts, making posts that I want to make, whether that's for my personal Instagram or for like my pet sitting business. Social medias, I think it's been really fun and fulfilling to tap into my creative brain again. But yeah, I'm really sorry I don't film as much YouTube videos anymore. I only post once a month, but I'm also just trying to complete this monthly series so that I can move on and start filming more videos that I'm more passionate about, because I think I've kind of fallen off of this series that I've been doing since last year, and we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary for this series now, which is crazy. And we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary for this channel now. I started posting these types of talking videos in March of 2025, so March of last year. And so that's insane. That's already been a month, or already been a year, not a month, already been a year since I've started this channel. So thank you to those out there that have subscribed, that have liked or commented, or just, you know, watched these videos. I really appreciate you guys. And I promise I'm going to start filming more different types of videos once the series ends. I only have 2 more videos as part of the series to go. And then once the series ends, I'm going to try to start posting more on my channel. I also post a lot of YouTube shorts as well whenever I go on little vacations and trips, or just going on like nature walks and at like my local parks and stuff. I usually like to film and post like nature related videos on my YouTube shorts, just to kind of have little glimpses into my everyday life. But yeah, thank you. I hope you appreciated my little festive heart patterned pink hoodie that I wore for this video. And I hope the camera quality hasn't been too bad. I switched out to a different camera, so I'm hoping. I wasn't really pleased with the last video's quality. It was 24K HD, like 2460 frames, but for some reason it looked kind of it wasn't as good as my old camera for some reason. So I don't know if that's like a setting that I have to fix, but I hope that that the quality will get more and more crisp with the more videos that I film. But yeah, I have just been rambling on and on at this point. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your morning, noon, afternoon, evening, nighttime, whenever it is you're watching this. And I will see you in the next one. So bye, and happy Valentine's Day if this video goes up in time. Bye.